Hello everybody, my name is Tuomas, and in this video I'm gonna review the Beach Boys live in concert, not the live album. It's very confusing, I know. The Beach Boys somehow are able to use the same title with multiple different decades and different products, but I'm talking about this one. The DVD / also Blu-ray release. I would actually love to own the Blu-ray, but I don't know how the quality on that one differs to this one. Whether it's actual like HD or not. The quality on this one is pretty good too. But anyway, it's the 50th anniversary tour packed in a DVD case. And this one is pretty cool. Oh, it's a bit dusty, but it's pretty cool because it's actually a double feature. So it has not only the concert with a really cool red disc, a really lovely label, but also Doing It Again, which is the documentary that was produced for the 50th anniversary tour in 2012, and I think this one's about an hour long. I'm mainly going to talk about this one in this video, the concert, but just a few words of the documentary for the beginning. As far as I can remember, it's actually really good. It's got recent interviews of all the living members and really nice tributes for both Dennis and Carl. It's got the sort of never before seen footage of the Good Vibrations sessions and bunch of footage from the tour and all kinds of little moments. It's just fast forwards their whole career, but I love the fact that it basically it tells their story from the beginning up until 2012, so it doesn't actually like skip anything. It's got all the sort of the major things in an hour or so. So in that sense, I believe that this is actually much better than the more recent Disney documentary. And I would actually even call this essential. So if you haven't seen it, you really need to check that out. It's a really cool little documentary. As far as I can tell, because it wasn't stated anywhere, but I did some research, the concert was filmed at Phoenix, Arizona, Grand Canyon University Arena, which is basically like a basketball arena, as far as I can tell. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comment section. As I mentioned, it's filmed there, but probably at least half of the audio comes from who knows where. And that's my major, pretty much my only critique for this concert. Audio doesn't sound anything like the 50th tour shows actually sounded like. So if you were there and you experienced it, you know that any of these this one or the live CD or any of these little behind the scenes documentaries, whatever, you know, they pale in comparison to what those shows actually sounded like. And I hate that. I pray for some, I don't know, higher power every night that someday the management would correct this and release an unaltered, unedited, uncensored, unauto-tuned version of one of those better shows of the tour, because the show, at least that I witnessed in London, was phenomenal. And this comes from someone who has seen a lot of concerts by a lot of people, younger artists and older artists and so on. But that London show was phenomenal, probably still my all-time favorite performance by anybody. And this DVD, this performance over here, nor also the sort of the live album that was released from this tour, sound nothing like the actual performance that I witnessed, at least. And I hate it that these are the artifacts that we have officially from that tour. So the people that actually were not there have to live with that sort of thought that this is what it sounded like. And it doesn't help that with few of those early dates on that tour, they actually did use some sort of pitch correcting softwares or gear, I don't know, live. So that story started to live its own life, basically, that this is what they sounded like the whole tour. They just used pitch correction and auto-tune throughout the tour, which is not true at all. They did use those machines and that sort of technique on some of those early dates, but that was it. they scrapped it quite fast, and the rest of the tour they sounded amazing. Nobody cares if Mike sings a little bit flat or Brian sings off key on a note or two or David plays a wrong note. None of us fans care about that. We want to see the real authentic performance. We don't want to see this sort of plastic sounding, AI sounding, really weird Frankenstein number, which kind of this thing sounds like, for most part. It's really sad. Sometimes the thing is they didn't use, Joe Thomas is marked as sort of the final mixer with another guy that I now cannot remember the name of. Brian is also a producer on it, and Mike shares an executive producer credit, but I doubt that Brian or Mike had really anything to do with this actual product. Thing with the pitch correction on this one and also the live CD is that it's not used to correct pitch. It's used to change the whole, like they've taken the whole sort of the audio track, that whole vocal, and then changed the whole vocal by like, I don't know, like a note or two to basically to another pitch. It sounds really weird. It's not used as sort of you'd use Melodyne or Autotune traditionally to correct pitch, like correct notes here and there, because if it was used like that you wouldn't even notice that it is there. But it's actually used as this tool to make them sound younger, which is so shameful because they sounded phenomenal on this tour. They even use some sort of autotune or pitch correction on Jeff's vocals, which is crazy. It just makes me mad. Anyway, I could go on and on about this issue, but you know, you get the point. If you can get past that effect, you are able to find a lot of enjoyment from this, because first of all, the actual like the video production style and that whole quality is really good. The only thing that I don't like about the way it was filmed is that it's constantly zooming in or zooming out or panning. It's got this constant movement, like you're on a boat or something. It's really strange. So that's one thing that I don't like about the way it was filmed. But I do love the fact that they actually have a lot of wide shots, and they also show the audience a lot. So that's really cool. And there's a lot of cool moments, a lot of close-ups as well, so you see cool little moments from each member, and they focus on David Marks multiple times when he's doing a guitar solo. For example, he does a killer solo on Marcella. And the set list overall, I'm not gonna go through the whole set list, but it's a really great selection. It doesn't completely represent the show because the show was a lot longer. It was like 3 hours, and this show over here is like 1 hour and 15 minutes or something, so it's very truncated. But you get sort of the gist of it. It's basically half and half of like the classic hits, and then half deep cuts and also new songs from That's Why God Made the Radio, which are highlights. So it includes All This Is That, Marcella, and Heroes and Villains, and like I mentioned, Isn't It Time, That's Why God Made the Radio, Sail on Sailor, and a bunch of Pet Sounds tracks, but it does leave out a lot of, you know, pretty essential tracks too, which is kind of strange. But probably like surprisingly, the highlight of this whole DVD for me is Kokomo. It actually sounds really good. It's mixed really well, and Mike sounds really good on it. On many Mike lead vocals, they've done the same thing as with Brian's, that they've just changed the pitch altogether and it sounds really weird, but not on Kokomo. He sounds really good on Kokomo. Not too much effects and pitch correction on that one. But the best part of Kokomo is Brian and Al singing the chorus to the same microphone. And at the very end, Brian, it's in a close-up, so it's really cool. Brian looks straight at the camera, it's like, all right. And then he stands up and goes and picks up the bass guitar. And then they do fun with Brian playing the bass too. So anyway, that was like one of my biggest thrills of my life, to see Al, David and Brian, the original lineup minus Carl, you know, playing guitars online on stage. So that's really amazing. I would just hope that with this one they'd show Brian a little bit more at the end, because they kind of keep him out of the frame when he's doing the bass thing. That's a bummer. But like that ending of Kokomo when they do the chorus together is really fun, and you can hear Brian too clearly singing it and enjoying the song. So that's really nice. And overall it's super classy, and you know, Bruce is kind of corny and Al is kind of corny, but they are kind of being themselves. That little moment during I Get Around where Bruce does that jump in the middle of the song is the most un-rock and roll thing ever. It's like the corniest thing ever. I don't know if he still does that, but it's hilarious. It's nice to see the audience. There's a lot of young people too. But yeah, like I mentioned, it sounds nothing like the actual performance. The actual performance was so killer. It was so hard rocking. It was faster. It was louder. It was much more energetic. It's a shame that this doesn't come even close to what it actually was like. And the backing band is amazing. You can't really go wrong with Brian Wilson band and John Cowsill and Scott Totten, so that combo was just a killer backing group. So anyway, I think that's really it. I could go on and on and on with this one, but I think I'm gonna leave this short. What do you think about this? Have you looked the whole thing for a while? If you haven't, go and check that out, because it actually is kind of overlooked. I think it has a lot of cool little moments and I feel that this is essential really for every Beach Boys fan. So, you know, check that out. And especially the documentary, like these together just make a really good sort of double feature. And the documentary dives into Dennis and Carl too, and they include, I believe in the documentary you can see those tributes that they did, the full tributes that they did for them during the show, with the sort of the lead vocal and then them backing those lead vocals on stage. And those were really, you know, touching moments for me in the audience. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully see you soon again on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.